Good morning, Earthlings. This is your hot mess, keeping it real for you from wherever you are.
Are most CO2 emissions coming from boats?
Trucks, airplanes, or trains? Let's just start diving into the subject and see what can we discover together. 5 leading contributors. Let's imagine each sector is taking slices of the pizza: transportation, electricity, enterprises, residential, and commercial. As you can see, each of these contributors is taking part not equally the same. Now, let's focus on the biggest contributor by 2023. Here is how it's divided: motor gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, other fossil fuels, residential fuel oil,
And lastly, a margin error between the sectors.
as you can see, the most significant contributor to our CO2 emissions is land transportation. Even though many people might think it was likely to be boating or flying a plane, there are a lot more chances to have one person driving a truck from one place to another than a pilot flying a plane without passengers or a boat captain sailing a boat without a crew. We are making the amount of CO2 that goes out into our sky more predominant through trucks than boats or planes. When I used to see the news, I would always assume that gasoline was the primary producer of CO2, right? And then I learned that when talking about CO2, the industry's biggest footprint for a while was not even the transportation industry, but electricity. Electricity was the biggest contributor until 2015 because everyone was so immersed in what electricity could do for humanity and our lifestyles that nobody really cared. The US, though, has been taking this subject seriously. In 2023, the US saw a small drop in CO2 emissions compared to 2022 in the electric industry. This is great news because that means electricity made from natural gas and solar power are actually working. Even though more and more CO2 is being released each year, it seems like the speed at which it's increasing is slowing down because of the taken electric industry measures. This might mean that the total amount of CO2 released is starting to stop going as quickly. On the other side, there wasn't much change in how much pollution came from factories and transportation. Why the hell are not enterprises right now working on making these trucks to be electric? I just think that we should just merge both industries. We have the electric industry already doing big things with their innovations. We have kind of trying to get the electric industry inside of the transportation industry, but only with commercial cars. I would love to see this same premise, but for company trucks. Why don't we take that step up, of getting truck companies to actually invest in having better equipped trucks, right? It looks so obvious to me, but at the same time, I haven't seen that, and I would love to see that because that would be awesome. We could even put solar panels on top of the whole thing. I am sure it's more complicated than what I'm saying, but I think that will be a great start.
If you happen to know any big companies like Walmart or Amazon doing this kind of swap to electric trucks, please let me know. I am thrilled to know this information.
On the other hand, we also have the enterprises not really doing too many changes. And that's mainly because of what we talk about in the second episode, the bad handling of the ESG report. For whoever wasn't there on the second episode, an ESG report is this report card enterprises have to give to the government annually by the end of the year, saying how much was their carbon dioxide footprint in the year. And they have to do a whole list of tasks. And right now, enterprises do not count with a team inside of each company to be on top of this at all times. So basically you have the manager dealing with a bunch of stuff and also dealing with this at the same time. Scientists have a budget for how much more CO2 we can make before the earth gets too hot. And each enterprise counts with an annually budget. But right now, what the enterprises are doing is basically selling part of their annually budget to other enterprises that need to create more carbon dioxide to survive. So this is creating like a black market inside of the enterprises industry, where the enterprises are assuring the governments that, yeah, we can manage this enterprise without creating this amount of carbon dioxide footprint. But in reality, what they're doing is buying some percentage from other companies that maybe are not doing as much carbon dioxide as they could do because of their annual budget, and they're giving it away to enterprises that need that percentage. So at the end, we're not resolving the problem. We're just digging the hole just deeper. We're still making a lot of CO2, but maybe not as much as the last 2 years. But we're still using up our trash allowance pretty fast. And if we don't slow down, we might run out of it sooner than we thought. The amount of CO2 in the air went up by 2.8 parts per million, which is just a way to measure how much of something is in the air. That's a big deal because it's been going up like this for 12 years in a row. Carbon dioxide is not the only reason why our planet is getting so hot so fast, though. There are other gases that contribute to the mix to create the greenhouse gas emissions. But before we jump into other gases that compose the GHG emissions, do you know how these gases accumulate and why? In 1824, Joseph Fourier, after some experiments, discovered that planet Earth was slightly hotter than it was supposed to be back then. But he didn't know exactly why. Later generations discovered that greenhouse gases were warming the planet.
Let's talk about the greenhouse effect. A greenhouse is a building with glass walls and glass roof. The clear glass allows sunlight to shine into the greenhouse while also trapping the sun's heat inside. This is how a greenhouse keeps plants warm, even at night or in the winter. The greenhouse effect keeps Earth warm in much the same way. Earth isn't surrounded by glass, but it is surrounded by a jacket of gases called the atmosphere. In the daytime, the sun shines through the atmosphere, warming Earth's surface. After the sun goes down, the Earth's surface cools. This releases heat back into the air, but some of that heat gets trapped by the gases in the atmosphere. The gases block the excess heat inside the Earth, warming our planet. The gases that block this heat from leaving our planet are greenhouse gases. Earth needs a balance of greenhouse gases to maintain just the right temperature for living things. But some human activities are changing Earth's natural greenhouse effect. The excess of these greenhouse gases traps more and more heat, leading to a warmer Earth.
So here we are. We have been wrestling with global warming for the last 200 years. We are heading to the planet's limit to sustain life as we know it. Tackling the greenhouse gas emissions is like realizing you have been wearing your bra backwards all day long. But hey, once we face it, we are on the path to a better and perkier future. Ignoring greenhouse gas emissions exists is like pretending your bra isn't digging into your skin. It won't fix anything and will only leave you uncomfortable. So carbon dioxide takes the lead, mainly from road transportation, electricity, industry, everything that we talked before. But there is another big characters in the equation: methane and nitrous oxide. Methane is a gas that mostly comes from decomposing plant matter. Yeah, even underwater. The animals we eat poop, and they do not get the treat we get with septic tanks. So you can imagine. where all that gas poop inside. Yeah, you guessed it. You know what is gross? To know that part of what you are breathing actually is animal fart. So much animal fart that is becoming non-see-through clouds. Did you know that breathing Mexico City's air for one day, it's equivalent to smoking 4 cigarettes a day? That also includes a little bit of cow's farts here and there. On the other hand, nitrous oxide mostly comes from farming and using fertilizers. I know what you're thinking. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but yes, the farm industry will have to hit the brakes soon before it's too late. I have been looking into permaculture. Do you know what it is?
LOL.
I will do some research to see how we, city people, can have our little permaculture in our little living space. But for now, my homework is to take yourself to the farmer's market once this week. Just practice it like a Sunday brunch activity. Take your mom to see seasonal fruits. Just get there and explore. We can make a real difference by being mindful of our choices, like our correct bra size. I have been wearing the wrong bra size my entire life and ignoring what greenhouse gas emissions were until now. Yet, here I am, all in one piece. This change starts with me, and I hope you will join me in this one. Remember, we only have one planet, Earth. Thank you so much, oh fantastic denizens of the multiverse, for listening to Hot Mess from Earth. Stay tuned for more and tell me in the comments what you think.